The origin of life on Earth is a topic that has been the subject of research and debate in the scientific community for many years, and there is still no definitive answer. This has led us to explore intriguing theories that challenge our conventional understanding. Among the unknowns that surround us, a hypothesis that has captured the imagination of many is the suggestion that life, instead of arising from purely natural processes, our existence as Homo sapiens could be linked to a surprising extraterrestrial source. What if human DNA, the code that defines us as a species, were the result of the genetic engineering of an advanced civilization that left its mark on the Earth in the remote past? The latest findings about our DNA reveal unusual genes that make us rethink everything we know. Before going into details, let's define what DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is. It is defined as a molecule contained in the nucleus of the cells of living organisms. It is like an instruction manual that makes us what we are. This DNA is made up of smaller pieces called nucleotides, which are grouped together in a kind of spiral ladder called a double helix. When living beings have children, they pass a part of their DNA to them through a process called sexual reproduction. This is what makes babies look like their parents and have similar characteristics. In short, DNA is like a recipe manual inside our cells that tells us who we are. It is inherited from parents to children and is what makes us unique. Until recently, it was thought that all cells had the same genetic code, but no. The genome is mobile and changes over time. There are mutations and environmental influences. No copy is the same as the original. This causes species to change over time. The changes are so subtle that it takes millions of years to see significant changes in a species. When the naturalist Charles Darwin proposed his theory of evolution and natural selection, a great stir arose. Since most people thought of divine creation, that everything was created by a supreme being, spontaneous generation was also suggested. The idea is that certain organisms could arise from inert matter or decomposition of organic matter. In short, people believed in magic and things that came out of nowhere. The human being was considered immutable, as king and absolute master of the world. He alone was above God and his laws. All of this clashed with the theory of evolution, which lowered human beings from the pedestal of demigods. Now the human being was just another living being, which evolved from other species. The fact of putting the all-powerful humans on the same level as the apes was something that terrified them. In fact, it is estimated that human DNA and chimpanzee DNA are approximately 99% identical in terms of gene sequence. What we do with that 1% is what makes us truly human. With cats 90%, the same as pigs. This does not mean that we come directly from them, but it is evident that we have all evolved on the same planet, and we have similar characteristics. And now I'm going to tell you something that if it doesn't drive you crazy, nothing will. If we combine evolution and creationism, something surprising happens. The theory of evolution continues to cause much criticism, since there are very complex evolutionary steps that cannot be explained. Genetic modifications appear in organisms, as if there were an intelligent design behind them. The information about a mutation in DNA makes appear, according to critics, something as complex as an eye or a flagellum that does not seem to be the result of chance, but of intelligent design. It is as if DNA had a large amount of information very similar to an artificial intelligence that could create anything, and that is formed in living organisms through mutations. If that new modification is successful, it continues to evolve. This intelligent DNA hypothesis is called irreducible complexity. This would explain why there are such complex evolutionary steps. There are living beings so complex that they could not function if some of their parts were removed. Imagine a very complicated watch with many parts, gears and springs. According to the argument of irreducible complexity, if you remove a single part or change it, the watch may stop working properly. This suggests that the watch was intelligently designed, because it appears that all of its parts are essential to its operation. Advocates of intelligent design do not necessarily specify who or what the intelligent designer is, but often imply that it is a divine force or supreme being. However, in the topic at hand, DNA would be a program created by an entity that is intelligent beings, so there would be a large amount of latent information in DNA. Mutations due to radiation, environmental factors, errors in DNA, and even viruses would create a new modification in the organism. It is surprising that different species in various places on the planet reach identical solutions. That is, to develop similar or analogous characteristics in response to similar environmental challenges. In other words, different evolutionary lineages can evolve independently of similar characteristics or adaptations. This feature is called convergent evolution. Wings in birds and insects, compound eyes, or the shape of leaves in trees are a few examples of convergent evolution. The DNA of living beings resembles an artificial intelligence with latent information. The big question is, who created this machinery with information adaptable to any situation? DNA has many similarities with artificial intelligence, but more sophisticated. They store information, process data, and make calculations to make decisions or perform specific tasks. The biological molecule of DNA was formed in a process of millions of years on our planet. However, if it was formed, it is because that information was already contained in the information of the universe, the great cosmic machinery. Our DNA is the master molecule that contains the instructions for the existence of all living beings. It means that the cosmos houses information to create beings like us, and perhaps organisms that we cannot even imagine. A while ago, scientists came across an enigma. A class of genes that emerged in the fabric of biological reality without an apparent antecedent. They baptized them as nobo genes, and they became silent witnesses of the diversity and complexity of life. A new scientific study published in the journal Cell Reports has identified 155 genes that seem to have emerged from nowhere, and that gives species certain unique abilities. For example, Arctic cod has a gene that allows it to survive extremely cold temperatures, and has no close relatives with this ability. Researchers have created an ancestry tree by comparing humans to other vertebrate species to trace the relationship of these genes throughout evolution. They discovered that some of these genes are essential for maintaining a healthy living system. Others are related to diseases and characteristics unique to humans. These nobo genes are a great mystery and fueled the hypothesis of intelligent DNA. The evolutionary history of our species is a great puzzle. We collect remains in various places around the world, and then we have to reconstruct the history. It is something complex. According to DNA samples from the first human-like hominids, something doesn't add up. Our characteristics are too different from other hominids, which leads us to suspect that the first Homo sapiens crossed with another unknown species. Some scientists thought these ancient genetic differences were due to matings with a ghost species for which there is no physical or DNA evidence. This has fueled some strange hypotheses. The most probable ones are that climatic and genetic changes and various crossings between various species of hominids must have led to the appearance of Homo sapiens in Africa before dispersing. However, there is another idea for the origin of life and evolution, even more fascinating. Directed panspermia. Life, or at least the seeds of life, such as microorganisms or genetic material, could have been deliberately sent to Earth from elsewhere in the universe by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. This hypothesis states that life on Earth did not originate naturally on our planet, but was seeded from outside the Earth. Here are some key points related to directed panspermia. What I am telling you could have occurred through the transport of microorganisms, genetic material, or even more advanced life forms in spaceships or through cosmic particles. Beings of unimaginable intelligence may have traveled through the stars, transporting microorganisms, genetic material, or even more advanced forms of life. Imagine this. In the unfathomable depths of the cosmos, extraterrestrial beings with a high level of scientific and technological knowledge arrive on the Earth of the past and carry out genetic modifications on the life that already existed on our planet. These modifications could have led to the emergence of humans and our unique characteristics. For what purpose? The reasons remain veiled in the cosmic mystery. It was an act of colonization, a cosmic experiment, or a desperate attempt to preserve life in the event of a catastrophe on their own world. Our ancestors would have had to adapt to terrestrial conditions to survive and evolve. The even more astonishing possibility emerges when we consider that the gods of old could have been visitors from space. Extraterrestrial beings, possessors of supreme scientific and technological knowledge. This idea suggests that the diversity of life on Earth could have had multiple sources of origin. Our planet formed more than 4,500 million years ago, and life appeared very early, about 4,000 million years ago. This has always made us suspect that it may have originated in some advanced civilization. Unfortunately, we still do not have solid scientific evidence to support intelligent design, hybridization, or that we were planted by other beings. But it is good as a mental exercise to make you think. There is no solid evidence, and no, the Nazca mummies are not extraterrestrials. There are much more probable alternatives that we can check. Evolution and the natural process of the origin of life on Earth is the best we have to explain our origins. The scientific community believes that there are a large number of intermediate steps that have led us to what we are today, and that we were not created by anyone. Today, it represents the most solid explanation supported by evidence for the appearance of life on Earth and the diversity of species. Without the need for extraterrestrial intervention, everything has been formed by natural processes thanks to the laws that govern the universe. We think we are special on the stage of life, but we could be nothing more than a circumstantial fact of nature. The cosmos does not revolve around us, we are part of it. In the midst of the cosmic immensity, the enigma of our existence unfolds before us. We are explorers of the unknown, seeking answers in the most remote corners of space-time. However, when I take a look at the vast and strange cosmos, I realize that I cannot rule out anything no matter how improbable it may seem. We must continue investigating to find our true origins.
Hush.